Everybody, I'm just so excited. We have Jensen McRae here joining us. Jensen, thank you so much for joining us. I couldn't tell you when I found out you're going to be on the show. I was so excited because I've been listening to you ever since you came out. I've been such a big fan, and I'm just so eager to share your music with everybody, everyone watching, all the viewers. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm sure you've been compared to, some big artists. I would kind of call you like the Joni Mitchell or Joan Baez of our generation. There really isn't, I was telling Maiwan earlier, there really isn't any artist right now that is storytelling like you. I feel like when I listen to your music, like Immune, Wolves, starting to get to you, like I'm it's like escapism, like I'm getting lost into these lyrics. Tell us more about your songwriting and your process.
That means so much to me to get those comparisons. I call myself a word girl. I've always been a really big fan of language and stories and narrative, and it's just something that I try to incorporate in my music. Lyrics are the first thing I write, and they're the easiest part of the songwriting process to me, and it's just really fun to get to draw people in and kind of take them on a little storytelling journey.
What kind of inspires you the most? Like, when did you really decide that you wanted to get into music? Because your topics are so deep and personal and, very serious, especially everything that's going on in the world right now. What was kind of like your aha moment growing up that you really wanted to pursue music?
I've wanted to be a musician for my whole life, like as long as I can remember. But when I got to college and started studying songwriting more seriously, I realized there were a lot of areas that I hadn't tapped into yet, like regarding race, gender, politics, mental health. And I realized that I had this capacity to write about those difficult topics in a way that was still pretty accessible. And I realized that I had kind of an obligation to do that.
That's amazing. What is one of your favorite songs that you've written?
It changes. My favorite song of mine changes very frequently, but I mean, right now I'm very proud of Wolves. It's a song that continues to give back to me and to the people who listen to it, even like more than a year after it came out. And I'm just really proud of the way that I was able to talk about something that was very difficult and give some people some catharsis and feel like they're being seen.
You know what? That's probably my favorite song too. That's the song, when I was listening, going deep into your catalog again today to prepare for this. And Wolves is a song that just kind of like takes you there. What was it like when you wrote that particular song?
Honestly, when I wrote Wolves, I didn't really realize what I was doing. Like, it didn't feel like I was doing anything particularly special. But then returning to the song later with my producer, Rahki, we both realized that we had made something really, really special. It was something that took some distance and like a fresh ear to realize was like this very unique, important piece of my discography.
Who are some of your favorite songwriters growing up? Like, who are some of the songwriters that inspired you?
When I was a kid, I really, really loved Alicia Keys, Carole King, James Taylor, Stevie Wonder. I loved Sarah Bareilles and Corinne Bailey Rae when I was in elementary school. Those were two really big ones. And they all still inspire me so much now as an adult.
That's awesome. I love that she says all of those artists because, like,
yeah.
Have them released. Oh my God. Tell us more about your involvement with treating your own music video.
Well, I wasn't always like a person who envisioned that being a part of my like career. Like, I wasn't sure how involved I would be in my music videos when I was a kid, envisioning like life as an artist. But it was like really important to me and my team that like, my stamp be on like all of the visual components of my work. And it's been really exciting to grow in that way and like work with directors who trust me and my instincts and to help me translate like a lot of brainstorming and chaos into these more cohesive visual pieces.
That's amazing. That's really beautiful. You guys, if you haven't watched music videos, even your covers on YouTube, I mean, just you guys can get stuck on Jensen McRae. It's so amazing. Tell us what you have in store for 2021.
For the rest of 2021, there's going to be more music coming out. I can't say like with a ton of specificity, but there's just definitely going to be more like all the rest of this year.
That's amazing. And, you're mainly an acoustic artist. Would you ever want to experiment with, different mediums of sound?
I definitely would. And right before the pandemic hit, my last live show was with a band. And that was really, really great. And it's definitely something that's going to continue and return like when I can play more live shows. But yeah, I really want to continue to push myself. I love writing in every single genre. So even though I write sort of in the folk alternative pop space now, like there's no telling like what's going to come like in future albums. And like, I definitely want to experiment both for myself and with other artists, like trying a bunch of new things.
I love that. Yeah, my one has a question.
I had to ask, how did you get in touch with your producer, because I'm a big fan of Rahki. He did I by Kendrick. He did Jets Go by Currency. He did Institutionalized by Kendrick. He did White Boy by yourself. He did Wolves. So how did you guys link up?
So I played a show in September 2018 in West Hollywood, and my now manager, Kristen, booked me for that show, and she and Rahki have been friends for like 15 or 20 years now, and so after I played that show, she put us in touch, and the rest was history. We started working together right away, and Starting to Get to You was the second song we ever did together.
Wow, major shout out to your friend. That is a great individual. She put together she brought two people from really two different worlds as far as music. I was more familiar with Rahki from all the hip hop he produced. And then so when I, caught notice that you're working with him, it was so different. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really know like how it was gonna go because I knew him as a hip hop producer, but then I found out he has this like secret soft spot for alternative like '90s music, and it was just like a perfect fit.
And he's crushing it.
Yeah.
And one thing I have to do, Jensen, every artist that comes in, I give them an album from my personal collection, something that I feel like reminded me of you when I heard your music. I wanted to give you, this is one of my favorite CDs ever, Esperanza by Esperanza Spalding.
That's fire.
I think this is one of the best albums ever made, and I wanted to give this to you because,
thank you.
Of course, all your music is so raw and so natural.
Thank
like
you.
she mentioned, the medium in which you make music, it's real. It's as like real as music can be. It's instrumentation with vocals. You're not putting a lot of layers on there, and that's what that album reminds me of because it's just very raw instrumentation.
This is so cool. Now I need to get a CD player.
You need come on now. Yeah, it's true. I figured your car might have one, but
it's a new car. It doesn't. But I need one. I need to listen to all my old stuff on something. So.
Just play the album on Apple Music and then look at that.
Yes.
While
Okay, I'll do that.
Jensen, what is your go-to, like if you were getting in the zone to create music, what is kind of like your go-to setup? How do you get in the vibe? How do you get in the zone when you're creating and writing?
I have a little like home studio set up at my desk in my room right now because of when the pandemic hit. I needed to be able to record myself from there. But I love working with Rahki in his studio. Sometimes I write outside. Like it kind of varies. As long as I have my acoustic guitar and like some natural light, I can go to town.
I can't wait for things to open up. I want to see Jensen McRae. I mean, at all the major festivals. I want to see you in Joshua Tree. I want to see you do that Pioneer Town like Pappy and Harriet's. I don't know if you've heard of that place.
Yeah.
When they have like these big artists like surprise everybody. I want to see that acoustic set from Jensen McRae because I don't know. You're just an artist. I can't wait to see you watch like grow and evolve, and I'm just so excited. And I'm so excited to see you live.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Well, tell us what you want most for the listeners to get from your music. What is the message that you want most to transfer?
I think like the number one message I want for everybody is just like it's okay to have big feelings. Like the music that I write sometimes talks about really big complex topics, but sometimes it's about really simple stuff, and I always have the same sort of outsized emotional reaction to all of it. And I want people to dig deep into those big feelings and not be afraid of them. That's kind of what all the music that I make represents.
I love that. And you know what? It's so inspiring too, because younger artists like yourself, you're just allowing yourself to be so vulnerable. And that's like the number one thing that people are afraid of being, especially right now. We've been so isolated from everybody. Yeah. And is there any lesson that you learned, or what allowed you to be so vulnerable and transfer into your music?
I think I was just a really sensitive kid, and my parents definitely encouraged me to get a thick skin so that I could survive in the world. But they also really encouraged me to find ways to channel all of that emotion into creativity, into productivity. And so I never thought of my sensitivity as a liability, really. And now as an adult, I look back and I wonder where I got all that confidence from as a kid. But I realized that it was special, and it was honestly a skill to be able to feel things deeply. And so it's something that I try to honor and not lose sight of, like the little kid in me that felt all those big feelings and cried all the time.
I love that. I have one more question for you. Okay, this is my favorite. Imagine like a rainy day, cloudy rainy day, morning. You have a record player. What is the first record that you put on?
Probably Forever Ago by Bon Iver. That's just like such a great rainy day vibe. Yeah.
I can like feel a rainy day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're ready for you, Jensen. Yay. I can't wait. Everybody can't wait. And
thank you so much.
I think it's time.
Yeah,
thank you.
So you can go hit the stage. We're gonna talk with the chat, see how everybody is doing.